What is up, everyone? We've got ourselves an interesting one today, and this one is called Fall Asleep in Love from the Neville subreddit. So, here it is. Once I learned about the LOA, I started getting in my own way to make things happen. That is so funny because I've been talking about getting in your own way, how to get out of your own way. Anyways. It wasn't until I looked back at things that occurred in my life that I started to realize how I naturally manifested prior to learning about Neville. If you're struggling with manifesting, I suggest you do the same. As it pertained to love, when I first met my SP, I would fall asleep thinking about him. I'd be so happy and excited to talk to him, spend time with him, etc. I would think about going on dates with him, kissing him, having sex with him, etc. Just being honest, LOL. I would replay our conversations in my mind and make up new combos telling me he loves me. I didn't do this to make something happen. I did it because it felt good and it was fun. Key point right there. I would fall asleep on cloud 9. I didn't loop the same scenes over and over. I didn't lie on my back and count down from 100 to 0. I didn't wait until my body was numb and floating, and I didn't wonder if I was impressing my subconscious mind. I just fell asleep as I was falling in love. I would wake up the next day to phone calls and text messages from my SP and the entire day. I would be in the state of being loved until I fell asleep and repeated the process. And then life started to happen. Instead of falling asleep in love, I fell asleep next to him, feeling pissed off. I started nitpicking his behavior. I wondered why the relationship was stalling, and I would argue with him in my mind as I drifted off to sleep. So what started to happen? Well, I would wake up to complete chaos, silence from him, and a broken relationship. Now I make it a goal to only think the most beautiful thoughts about my SP. I don't entertain anything other than unconditional love and harmony as I fall asleep. Before you go to bed tonight, think of the most pleasant thoughts that you can conjure up. Have fun with it. If it's SP related, go back to the early stages of your relationship where you knew they were craving you and everything was perfect. Fall asleep in that feeling without all the rules and restrictions of SATs. It will get reflected back to you, but don't do it to make something happen. Do it to experience it in your imagination and to make yourself feel good. Night after night, you should assume the feeling of being, having, and witnessing that which you seek to be, possess, and see manifested. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied. Never sleep in the consciousness of failure. Neville Goddard. So, Japanese Candlestick writes, the way I see it is that we're going to think and feel anyway, so you might as well train yourself to think and feel the best. And then somebody else replied, this is literally the reason some people get stuff just thinking of it casually and others seem to have to fight for it. When you go unconscious, autopilot, the stuff that floods your head is what you're actually manifesting. This is what resistance is if your trained thoughts are negative, like when you drift off into a daydream of inventing scenarios involving stuff you don't want to have happen. These trained thoughts are your beliefs and your expectations. If you can imagine getting 10K out of thin air and don't have trained opposing thoughts about money, then you probably pick up a scratch card at some point and win 10K. If it's the opposite, you'll always remain where you are. The more persistent at creating your dream world in your mind, the more conscious you are of your thoughts, and the more you start changing the trained automatic thoughts to actually be good ones, you'll basically be manifesting good stuff on autopilot. Yeah, so this is very true. I mean, there's a great book. I plan on doing like a book review or a top 5 books for manifestation or self-concept or whatever. Even just self-help in general. And this book is called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. He talks about how the whole book is set up actually as him having an interview with the devil. And it's really interesting, super interesting. I know it sounds esoteric, whatever, whether you believe in the devil, it doesn't matter, because what's really being expressed is these types of thoughts. Like, are you allowing those thoughts to slip in the back door, like imagining the devil on your shoulder on one shoulder and the angel on the other, the angel being the good thoughts. And because when you allow that to creep in, the intrusive thoughts, whatever you want to call them, negative thoughts. I'm also going to do a video on intrusive thoughts. We just did a skit about it the other day, explaining how to kind of get rid of those, you are then entraining your body, your physiology, not only your mind, is getting trained into having this physical response. It's bringing up your cortisol levels, it's bringing up your stress levels, your fight or flight, and you are now emitting this signal out into the universe like we talked about in my video on the science of manifesting and in other videos that I've discussed. And what he talks about in that book is there's a thing called hypnotic rhythm, and your body is in this rhythm of, that's your baseline state. You have these worrying feelings, these fearful feelings, this anxiety, this constant undertone of anxiety to everything that's going on, then you're going to revert back to that. That's why robotic affirming or doing something fun, or simply when you have an intrusive thought, start focusing on something else. Start playing video games. I know video games get a bad rep in today's day and age because it's all the hustle culture and everything, but whatever it takes for you, go eat an ice cream cone. Go get an acai bowl. Go try out that Italian pizza place that you've been wanting to try. If you can just get yourself out of that, have something that you have fun doing, that's one way of doing it. Another way, hit it with the opposite affirmation. Hit it with the exact opposite. You know what? I am having harmony in my relationship. I am experiencing amazing things in my life. I am walking around and people are reacting positively to me. People are responding positively to me wherever I go. And I just have this effect that I carry around with me everywhere that I go. And again, it's much more helpful to build the self-concept up with these kind of vague growth type statements if you find yourself in this negative rut, especially if it comes to a specific person, a relationship. Rather than being very honed in and specifically about this person, why not adopt the thoughts that everybody loves you, that everything's going well for you in your life? Because sometimes when we are so attached, I've used this example before. I talked to that psychologist about me and my music, right? I get so attached to my music sometimes that it can be hard for me to be like, oh, well, my music, this song is actually really, really good if I'm in a negative rut, right? I can take a look at my songs and my music and everything, take a step back when I'm in a better headspace and be like, yeah, this is successful, or this is going to work well. But oftentimes it can be much easier to start adopting that growth approach where you're simply saying to yourself, you know what? It is possible for me to get better and better results in my life. It is possible for me to run into positive circumstances and for things to unfold in a way that's working in my favor. And things are working more and more in my favor every single day. And every single day I'm collecting evidence and more proof. I'm gathering evidence that things are indeed working out well for me. And you convince yourself of this. You tell yourself this. You brainwash yourself with this. Because society, the outer world, the 3D, as people like to call it in this community, is filled with negative shit everywhere. It's all around. The news, you talk to your friends, you see what's on TV, you see what's on Netflix. There's garbage everywhere. And that's just the unfortunate reality that we live in. It's not like a limiting belief to just say that there are just a lot of negative influences out there. And for you to be instilling and installing the right programming in your brain that you want to have and in your body, because the mind and body is like essentially connected, it's one thing. That is how you are going to get onto this higher wavelength. People want to go 100 miles an hour. People want to go get my SP right now. I want to make $10,000 tomorrow. And sometimes it can be that slower is faster. And the slower approach, going the speed limit, 50 miles an hour, whatever it is, rather than going 100 miles an hour, will actually get you there quicker. And I'm saying this as a reminder to myself too, because I do that too. I can get in those headspaces where like, yeah, you have all these ideas and all these things that you want to get done, all this stuff that you want to have happen, but the mind then might reject it. It might say, you psych yourself out. You say, oh, I want to work on this project, but oh, how am I going to get there? And then it's like you give up. But if you just focus on the next thing, focus on the next step, which in this case, we're talking about an SP, whatever. Well, things are working out well for me. Things are going my way. Things are beginning to go get better and better for me. Eventually, you're going to see that works out towards your SP as well. And you can change those and tweak those on your way there. I'm talking about when you're in those negative ruts where really nothing seems to be working. But with that being said, guys, let me know what you guys think about this. I like this post a lot because it's reflective. I've had very similar experiences as far as falling asleep in that state. And I think it is what they're saying here is very valuable. Let me know what you guys thought. If you guys have anything else, any other questions or comments about this in particular, any other topics that you'd be interested in me covering, like I said. And with that being said, guys, much love. Hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.